right hook, boom, damn. Now I'm guessing that a lot of you suffer from a thing called fragile self-esteem, right? You've been winning for so long, everyone's telling you how intelligent you are, how competent you are at doing something. And you get to that point where you really start to believe it, and then you have one bad day and you go straight back to hell. You go back to this loop of negative thoughts circling around 24/7 throughout your whole day. Thoughts like, I'll never be good enough, or why am I even trying this? I'll never be good enough anyway. Or there's people over here who do it better than me, so I'm never gonna be as good as them, so why should I even do it in the first place? Well, I've been where you are. But by changing my mindset and my attitude, I wasn't concerned about my past mistakes. And I was able to put these fears to rest and these self-harsh judgments I was experiencing throughout the day, and what a lot of young men suffer with every single day, but they just don't show it. Like, if you look at someone, you won't be able to tell that they actually are suffering from this, but they do. A lot of them have such a low self-esteem about themselves and low confidence, but just don't express it. But you can tell, you can look at someone, you can just see it. Their posture, their facial expressions, their tone of voice, all these non-verbal cues give off how they are truly feeling. And if you pay attention to this stuff, you start to realize it in other people and even in yourself. Here's the thing, this is when I realized I can do this. I just need to change my values when it comes to experiencing fear and failure. And it changed my life forever, because I start to realize that if I let these negative thoughts guide my actions, then how am I ever going to win? Because then I'll be stuck in the waiting zone, waiting for that person to give me a compliment again so I can just take action, waiting for someone to confirm what I'm actually thinking about myself and what I want to think about myself, waiting for the right thoughts and feelings to come across in my mind so that I can just do the things I want to do, even though I know I should be doing them anyway, regardless of how I feel. And if you're not careful, you will get to the point where you're in that waiting zone for too long, and then you realise the time flies so fast, and you're 40 years old, you're 50 years old, and then you didn't do anything in your life what you really wanted to do, just out of fear and lack of courage and confidence, just because you didn't realise this early on in life. But if you realise this opportunity and this new way of thinking I'm about to provide you, you can stop this, you can prevent this from happening to you, so then later on in the line, you don't feel bad about it, and you can be proud of everything you've achieved, so then you can reminisce on the golden times, I guess. Let me tell you the story about the donkey. You've probably heard this story before because it's such a common story, but I think it illustrates perfectly what I'm speaking about. Actually, let me ask you a question first. If beating yourself up was an effective way of improving, wouldn't you be perfect by now? I want you to think about that for a second, because when I asked myself this question, it's like a light bulb moment in my brain. I was like, that's so true. Like, if I'm just beating myself up all the time, that's not getting me anywhere. It's just gonna make me feel more bad, and it's just gonna become a loop of just beating myself up, failing, beating myself up, failing, and that's not gonna get you anywhere. If I'm kind to myself, it's a different outcome. Now, you've definitely heard the quote, right? If you want the donkey to carry your load, you either give it the carrot or the stick. Another way of putting it, you can beat the living hell out of that donkey. Whack, whack, whack. But eventually you're gonna have a messed up, unhealthy, depressed, drooping posture donkey. Or option two, the carrot. You can dangle that succulent carrot in front of the donkey. And once you reach your destination and you've carried your load, you can give the carrot to the donkey, almost as like a pat on the back, or as a reward. Now, both things will get the donkey moving. That's the thing here. Each option will produce a happy, healthy donkey, or a resentful, cannibalistic donkey who just hates everyone around him and just hates itself. Now, if I've learned anything about myself over the last year, and people and everyone pretty much, is that we all have a dream to change the world and make an impact in which our legacy will be remembered. But it's your perception of winning and fear what is holding you back from achieving this, most likely anyway. Keeping you in this waiting zone, what I discussed earlier, because you're not willing to actually take the risk and get out there and even try things to the best of your ability, waiting for the right thoughts to pop up and the right feelings. So you can keep on doing what you've been doing the whole time, and what you've been doing probably most likely your whole life. Or you can listen to me and my opportunity I'm trying to provide you today, and potentially give yourself self-love, what provides you unlimited confidence when it comes to everything you do. Story about me and how I got to this epiphany I'm explaining to you now. I was always that kid that, lack of confidence type of kid, it always stuck in my head. Psychologists like to refer to this as neuroticism. It's a personality trait where you basically just have a bunch of negative thoughts, and yeah, that's pretty much it. How I got to this mindset and epiphany is strangely through a boxing match. I actually had this epiphany after a boxing match. So around this guy's house, and a good friend I used to have back in the day, and we planned to do some like friendly boxing. Wasn't friendly, I'll tell you that now. In his back garden anyway. There we get to the point where we got the gloves, but no one actually wants to fight, except from this one guy. A good friend of mine, a big chocolate man, like double my weight. And if you know anything about boxing, you know how impactful someone being double your weight is when it comes to actually boxing. It's like the person who's competing against that person shouldn't actually even win, technically. But weirdly enough, I had the courage, not confidence, courage, which I guess in a way is actually confidence anyway, but we'll get to that later in the video. And he's giving me these blows after blows. And then, out of nowhere, right hook. Boom. Damn. He's down out of nowhere, and I won. And this is the epiphany I had, by the way, is that in order to be successful, I don't actually have to win this guy. I can choose a different value of being able to face fear and the fear of adversity and doubt, and realize that even going into this fight is a win in itself, because he's got the height, he's got the weight, he's got the length of the arms, he's got everything on me. And deep down I knew even if I do lose, it doesn't matter, because I'm living on this new value that at least I tried. And if you ask me, that is true mental toughness, being able to persist in the fear and doubts I had, and to create self-unity for myself and achieve anything I do to the best of my ability. Now, if that isn't the best philosophy of life, I don't even know what is, because there's no better way of living life in how I see it. This epiphany removes all the entitlement you think you deserve. It removes the ego what everyone has, and it makes you realize that you have limits, but you're able to see them limits and maybe even go past them, the limits you've set for yourself. And I shifted this mindset into everything I did in life. I realized if I get this mindset I just had in this boxing match, I can implement this into everything I do in my life. And if you have this mindset throughout your whole life, how is there any stopping you? You're not going to lose to anything, because your values are too strong to be pulled down by self-doubts and fear and adversity, because you've created self-unity for yourself. All you need is yourself to be able to have the confidence and the courage to do anything you want to do. Exactly what I did, and what I'm currently doing, and I will be doing for the rest of my life. And this is what you need to do in order to become the best version of yourself. So you can transform yourself into that person who does anything he puts his mind to. And that's the whole point of life. So just don't start tomorrow, don't start a week from now, but now, so you can live by your values and become the person you want to be.